So it's that time of the year again, and Apple just released a bunch of new iPhones. And because I'm a sucker for that type of thing, I picked up an iPhone 14 Pro Max. But this time around, instead of going with space gray like I did for the iPhone 13, I went with gold, which is a color I had for the iPhone 11 and one that I really liked. But this year, the big news is that the notch that has been on the iPhone for the past few versions is now gone, and that's replaced with something called the Dynamic Island. And of course, we have the annual hardware and quality of life improvements, like the new A16 chip and slightly increased battery life. But it's safe to say the Island is what Apple is showing off the most this year. So let's get into this and see what's inside. Okay, let's go ahead and pull these tabs off. And here we are. And right off the bat, it looks almost exactly the same as the iPhone 13 Pro Max, at least from the rear. The camera bumps do look a little larger, at least around the borders. And this is making me wonder if my case for the iPhone 13 Pro Max will fit on this. My guess would probably be not, but we can test that out in a second. And what I'm checking out now is the gold color, and I'm not really feeling it. Like I said, I had the gold a few years ago, but this shade of gold seems much lighter than I remember it. And Apple's gold iPhones were always sort of a champagne color, but this year this seems more of a whitish tan. Honestly, a more accurate name for this would be grits or oatmeal, but that doesn't sound as cool as gold, does it? So let's go ahead and compare the iPhone 13 Pro Max with the 14, and as you can see, they are very similar. But on the same side where the volume buttons are, the SIM card tray is now missing on the 14, at least for the iPhone sold in the US. That's because Apple is now requiring the use of an eSIM, and you can see where the tray used to be on the iPhone 13. So while we have this out, let's compare the size of the camera lenses, and they don't look too different now, so maybe the phone cases will fit. Before we try that, let's go ahead and take this cover off. Alright, so let's try to put this iPhone 13 Pro Max case on. And so far so good, but it does seem to be giving me some pushback right here in the corner where the cameras are. So yeah, this thing is not gonna fit. The area around the camera bumps is actually a lot bigger than last year. This is no surprise, but it's still kind of disappointing since the leather Apple cases run about $60. So just keep that in mind if you're upgrading from a 13 Pro Max. You won't be able to use the same case. And just in case you're wondering, there's really nothing much left in the box outside of a power cord, some documentation, and of course the Apple logo sticker. Okay, so here's the iPhone 14 Pro Max in action with the dynamic island at the top of the screen. And my first impression is it's pretty nice. It's a definite improvement over the notch and looks clean and minimalistic. One thing about the island is that it changes depending on the task you're doing. If we do something like set a timer, it expands to show more information. And it's just cool how the island integrates with the overall user experience. Pressing on the island in certain ways also causes it to act differently. Like with the timer, I can quickly press it to open the timer app, or I can long press it to open a menu without leaving the home screen. I do think this should be the other way around, with a quick press opening the menu and a long one opening the app, but that's just my 2 cents. Another new thing with these iPhone 14 Pro models is the always on display, which was something I was low-key excited about when it was first announced. As you can see, instead of the screen going black when the phone goes to sleep, it now dims so you can still check out information just with a glance. And though I do like this feature, I think this is going to take some more getting used to than even the dynamic island, because it just feels weird to have the screen on and it can be somewhat distracting. But don't worry, you can turn this off by going into settings. And with the beige, gold color of the phone, I do think I would have been more satisfied if I went with space black or even the new purple color. It's a nice shade to be sure, it's sleek, it's muted, it gives off a nice professional vibe, but I just imagine something different when I think of gold. And low-key, I do wish Apple kept the olive green option that they had last year, because that would have been my automatic choice. Well, let me know your thoughts. Are you a fan of the gold iPhone? Also, do you think the island is worth the upgrade? If you ask me, it's pretty cool and I like the angle that Apple is taking with it, but if you feel like you're missing out at all, this isn't a game-changing feature and I wouldn't upgrade only for it. Okay, if you have any questions, feel free to leave me a comment, and as always, thanks for watching.